We're back, y'all. We're back, y'all. We're backity back, y'all. Okay. Don't use you gonna use that in the recording, aren't you? Hi, I'm Ebon.
And I'm William.
And welcome to another episode of the Thick and Thin Podcast.
And welcome back to another episode. We have a lot to get to today.
Yeah. Things are popping this week.
I know. I was going to say what's going on with you, but I know what's going on with you. Is there anything you want to share before we get going on our topics? I don't know.
Oh, you made it sound like there's something that I need to share.
I was just...
It's like, what's happening?
I was more opening the floor to you because I didn't want to just be like, we have a lot to get to today. First thing on the docket.
Gotcha. All right. No, I'm finally like good, like sounding normal again. I don't sound like I'm all...
No more congestion.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk like this.
Yeah.
Hi guys, welcome to the podcast. That's kind of what you sounded like the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned that in the last episode, but I'm always amazed when one is sick, like specifically a congestion, upper whatever kind of sickness, how much snot a body generates.
Oh my God. And it's like, what's the point of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like I literally expelled my weight in snot over the course of those like 2 weeks.
Is snot a response to the sickness, or is it is it, I guess my question is that the body trying to do something to help, or
Yes.
what does that help? That's my question. What does that help for me to not be able to breathe?
Whether it be sickness or like allergies, it's your body like trying to efficiently get rid of whatever is attacking it. I mean, I don't know how.
So it's supposed to expel the sickness through the snot?
I guess. I don't know.
Which I guess makes sense because that is a contagious
yeah.
aspect, right? Like if you get snot on someone, they'll
Yeah.
get sick.
Yeah. But it's like, I don't know. I just, at some point, it's just like mucous membranes, take a day off. I'm over it. Like,
Yep. I don't, it doesn't make, that's why like, when I'm sick, I tend to not blow my nose because it's like, why? It's just going to come back. It's just going to be right back there. So
in the early stages, it was like my nose was running, and I hate that feeling of like when it's like right on the cusp of coming out of your nose, and you're like, ha, like it's tickling that little.
Yeah.
And so I would just shove tissue in my nose to just like catch it without me having to blow my nose. But then the latter half, it became stopped up congestion, and then it's like. And I know it's illogical, but it's like, oh, my nostrils are closed. Let me try and blow them open. Mm-hmm. And it works for like 3 seconds. And then them shits like swell right back closed.
And then you keep doing it. And then it raws out your nostrils. Mm-hmm. And then you're irritated because your nose hurts. And it's like, I should have just left it alone and just let it all fall down into my mouth and just swallowed it back.
No, that's a gag inducer. No, I went through like 3 boxes, like them big, like
of Kleenex.
Yeah,
Jesus
like
Christ,
the over 100 per box.
Well, now you know why Kleenex is still afloat, you guys. Our fucking household alone is keeping them in the positive.
And I got I got the lotion ones, and my nose. I still blew my nose so much it was like chapped and molting.
Yeah,
it was gross.
Terrible.
But terrible. Yeah, Kleenex. Got some business for me in the last couple weeks.
Thousands of years of evolution, and we can't figure out a better way to get rid of sickness.
For real. Not your common cold, apparently.
Dude, imagine you're like a hunter, and you're like out in the field, and you're like creeping up on something, and then you're like... And then the animal's like, fuck was that? And it just bounds away, and they're like, come on, Ralph!
I know,
what are you doing? And he's like, sorry, I'm sick. You should have stayed home! Why are you coming to work sick, man? You're gonna get us all killed. They don't care about getting sick. They're worried about not getting food.
Right.
I don't know. That was just a thought that passed through my head.
Yeah. Although I do hate when people come to work sick. I become the biggest bully when it
Well,
comes
yeah.
to sickness. at
Especially
work.
when you work somewhere where it's like you have plenty of sick days. Like they give
Exactly.
you plenty, so like
Exactly.
use them.
Exactly.
As someone that works somewhere that has a limited amount, it's like yeah, I kind of pick and choose, but at the same time, I might use them not for sick time. You know what I mean? But it depends on your situation. I'll admit that it depends on how much PTO you have / earn. It depends on how many sick hours you get. It depends on how quickly can I use that PTO.
Well, and you
'Cause
you have
for
extra
me-
parameters, like you have
Yeah.
to put it in a month in
Yes,
advance.
yeah, which is ridiculous, and
Yeah.
it's so hard.
Life happens.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so hard to like figure that out. So that's why when something's like it comes up 2 or 3 weeks away, it's like, well, I guess I'm just going to use sick time for
yeah.
that. So please don't watch this.
With me at work, if I hear somebody like I know, especially like the people that sit nearest me, like, you know, I know what their normal sounds are. And it's like when I hear like, I hear like, you know, because usually for most people, when you get a cold, the first symptom is like a sore throat. When I hear you
Yep.
clearing your throat a little too many times, I'm like, are you sick? Well, I don't know. I feel good. No, go home.
Yeah.
Don't bring your cooties up and go. You got sick time,
That's
go.
how it always starts with me. You're like, are you sick? I'm like, I don't think so. I feel fine. It's just like, you know? And then like 2 days later, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm sick.
I'm noticing. I tend to hear it with you. I tend to know you're sick before you know you're sick.
But sometimes I get like weird like sinus like issues and like congestion and like then like the next day or like even later that day I'm fine. So like I don't know. I just like to give it time and not take medicine right away because then that suppresses it and you have no idea how you really feel.
That's fair.
I think medicine's bad. All medicines, but no.
No, not all medicine.
Not all medicine, but I don't think that like suppressing your cold or flu symptoms is like necessary.
No.
In fact, I think you need them to get over it quicker. Like
Well,
you should
for me,
sweat it out and puke it out. And
when I
like,
feel
you know,
something coming on, I'm like popping like vitamin C and garlic because
yeah,
I'm
you
trying to
started
kill
giving
it.
me garlic,
Yeah.
and wow, I don't know
mean,
if it helps. I have no idea.
It's
It
like,
makes my burps fun.
it's like nature's antiviral antibiotic. It helps
If you
kill it
say
quicker.
so, you sound like someone from the 1500s.
I mean,
There's a vampire. We need garlic
mean,
and wood steak.
it's
That's what,
different,
it's like
but-
the same. Yeah, but that's where vampirism comes from. Is
True.
sickness. Like that's really all it is. And they're like,
Technically.
garlic helps, right? And like, yeah, and you can kill them if they get too sick. Like that's basically it. Like that's the story. That's
I mean, other than this last cold, whatever, if I get to it quick enough, it often has kept me from getting a full blown sickness or at least minimized it. This one though, it laughed at that garlic though.
yeah. Told us to take a seat in the back
Yeah,
of the
it
subway.
was like, oh, you're cute. Go sit down.
yeah. Go ahead. And, there's some seats in the back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
So yeah,
we're through it. We're
Yes.
over it.
thank goodness.
Good, great, grand. Okay, where do you want to start? So much.
You pick since I
so
loaded it up.
much. All right. Boy. Let's start here.
All right.
So, the headline reads, people are tipping less because they are fed up with the tipping culture. The average restaurant tip has dropped to 19.3%, the lowest in 6 years. That's high.
For real.
That's high for average. Is this across the United States?
I don't
Average
know.
restaurant tip drop as low as it's been in 6 years. Researchers say the decline reflects growing customer frustration with what many now call tipping fatigue. As more industries add tip options and suggested amounts skyrocket, customers are feeling pressured and overwhelmed by expectations to tip for basic service. This tipping burnout has sparked widespread discussion about fair wages and the shifting responsibility of worker compensation. Many consumers argue that businesses should pay livable wages instead of relying on tips to bridge the gap. While the service industry remains dependent on gratuities, this cultural shift may force a re-evaluation of how labor is valued in the modern economy. This is interesting.
This is, I mean, I relate to this.
Do you?
Yes.
From which side?
The tipping fatigue
Okay.
part. Because once upon a time, I mean, before like delivery services and things were mainstream, it was only expected that you tipped when you sat down to eat somewhere. And I realized that, machines and cash out whatever things are, it's one system that's used for whether you take out or whatever. So the prompt is always going to be there. But I get irritated when I'm going, for lunch when I'm at work or just pulling up, to pick up food. You're not serving me. You're handing me a bag. And then do you want to leave a tip? No.
Yeah, no.
Like if you handing me a bag is worthy of tipping, then by that logic, I should be tipping every single cashier I encounter at Rite Aid, at wherever. Yeah. And I'm like, no, that is your job. That's not an over beyond. That's not an extra customer service you've provided. Why the fuck do you need a tip for that? Or expect a tip for that?
That I definitely agree with.
And I know Starbucks has a tipping jar, tipping option within your app or whatever when you order. And again, I'm like, unless you have a complicated order, you had a problem that somebody went over and beyond to help you solve, why do you expect a tip at Starbucks? You're not coming to my table, checking on me, topping me off.
Yeah, what's interesting is like for like a coffee, I don't feel really the need to tip. I don't think. I don't recall if I do, to be honest with you, when I go. But when I get an alcoholic drink, I feel obligated to tip, even though that's probably an easier process in a lot of instances where it's like, they're just giving me a beer. Like, turn around, pour a beer, and putting it on the counter. Like, they're not doing anything really. So, like, why am I tipping them?
Why are they, even if they're just handing you a bottle and popping the thing up, is that worthy of a tip?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, a mixed drink? Okay, that you doing something now.
Sure. But, like, just a beer? But it's like, I typically tip a few bucks every beer. Yeah, wow. For sure.
Okay.
And I think that's standard. But I don't know, like, it is one of those things where, like, if you step back and look at it, it's like, wait, why am I paying them? It's like, if you just put it out, I could just take it and just pay you and flip it off myself. Like, it's more of like a liability that you're behind there than it is like, than it is a service for me. Actually, you're an inconvenience for me. Now that I think about it, like, you're in the way.
Damn.
Like, so I should be tipping you to give me more faster. But that's typically, they cut you off anyway.
Right. Even with like food delivery, like, and I know the convention is to tip a percentage of your bill, but with like DoorDash or whatever, I tip based on how far are you driving and how many bags are you carrying to me. I don't factor in the amount of the bill. I'm like, if you're just handing me one bag and it was from down the street, you getting like $2 to $3. Sorry.
Yeah, I
if
guess
you're
it
coming
depends.
from across town and I'm getting like me, you, and my mom's amount of food, 2 bags. Okay, I'm tipping you more because you're doing more.
And if you got drinks,
exactly,
that's a hassle.
Yes.
As someone that's done Uber Eats, when there's a drink as a part of the order,
100%.
It's like, fuck. Because then you have to find a place to put it
in your.
It's so annoying.
So yeah, to me, I gauge my tipping for that based on how much. What's the hassle factor? Not the amount of what I'm paying.
But most people, they don't think about that. They just like choose one of the things.
Or they let it choose for you. And they, I don't know if you noticed, but like the default, like, is high. I'm like, hell no, I'm not giving you $10 for this. No.
But it's like at the same time, like a lot of these people working these jobs, like they don't make that much money. So it's like that extra, like, definitely does help them. But it's like, it shouldn't be up to us to like make sure that someone else makes a living wage. It should be up to the people they work for to make sure of that.
Agreed. I agree. I mean, that all of that pressure shouldn't be on us. But again, if you have a complicated situation where they got to do more than usual, then yeah, you should tip them more.
Here's what I actually think. I think tipping should be reserved for when someone genuinely goes above and beyond. Like genuinely or when they're going to do you a favor. Like the old school thing of like in Vegas, you walk in, you tip the door guy and they give you a good seat. Why is that not a thing? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. What? Sure. That's how you buy good like that should be a
But
thing.
then at what
the
point
improv,
at what point does that teeter on bribery when you're giving it to them before the
I'm not
before
doing
the
anything
act?
illegal.
I know, but it's like
Who gives a shit?
then that, I don't know.
Hey, anybody else could have done it. They
I
just
mean,
had the balls to
true,
walk up and be like, "Hey,
true.
I'll give you $100 if you let me sit there." It happened at the improv to me. It would happen
Dang.
all the time, and we were told, "Don't take tips. Fuck off." You know what I mean? Get out of here. Like I'm gonna take that 20. They're like, can I sit there? I'm like, it's reserved for handicap. And they're like, what about this Benjamin? I'm like, you know what? I think we're good. I think they don't need it. But it's like we would have 3 or 4 of them
Fair.
for purposes like, oh, there's a complicated customer that is
Yeah.
being an asshole. Just
Yeah.
give them that table.
Yeah.
So if they're gonna throw me $100, yeah, I'm gonna sit them there.
Well, yeah.
And then I'm gonna tell my boss they were being complicated. So
As you skip away with your C note.
exactly. So, but that's the kind of like that kind of tipping makes sense because it's like you're going out of your way, you're doing something you shouldn't do.
True.
Like
you actually
know what
are
I mean?
performing
Exactly.
an act that warrants
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
But versus like kind of just doing your job.
Yeah.
Like at Starbucks
Yeah.
or as a bartender, which is like, but again, like I understand that like and I guess I don't quite understand. My understanding is that they make either their tips or like the minimum wage, whichever's more. And so it's like, well, if you're not making more than minimum wage in tips, like, well, you suck then. How about that?
I mean, circumstances can necessitate having to have a minimum wage job. So I won't say that they suck, but
I guess.
obviously their life is not great.
Yeah.
They're probably struggling a little bit. Yeah.
But it's like, is that my fault that
no,
you
it's
didn't go
not
to
your
college?
fault. It's not your fault. But
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
There's
like
a gray area.
it might not be your fault either.
True.
But it's not my fault.
True,
Like
true.
that's why I pay
Yeah.
taxes and fucking Social Security and Medicare and shit so people like you can live for free. That's you know what I mean? Like, right?
I mean, in a sense, yeah.
So
Like yesterday, I won't call out the restaurant because, you never know who's watching. But my mom and I had lunch at a restaurant. And, there's always like different pricing for seniors. And I remember asking, because, when my mom placed her order and she was like, he's like, what do you want to drink? And she was like, oh, does this come with it? And he was like, oh, with, for seniors, yeah. Or something to that effect. Or no, he didn't say that. He said it comes with it. And so when I went to order, I was like, if I order the same thing, does it come with it? Or is that just like a senior discount perk thing? He was like, you can be a senior. Like, he hooked me up.
Yeah.
And I slipped him a few dollars because I was like, that's
Yes.
over and beyond.
yes.
That warrants a tip.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Even though for the intents and purposes of the transaction, he was just a cashier. We did not deal with him essentially anymore in the process.
Right.
But I was like, that was over and beyond.
And all that sacrifice was like what, a little juice?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It's like that cost the restaurant nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And he didn't have to give me that perk. He could have charged
Exactly.
me like a non-senior adult and
Exactly.
whatever. So
And here's the thing: pretty much all these places, they can afford to pay
Yeah.
their employees.
For
They
sure.
absolutely can.
for sure, especially when they're a chain, of course they can.
But they won't pay them more than minimum wage. I can
Because
tell you that much.
they used to them reaping in all the profits.
And so wouldn't you, as like a person that works here, do as much as you could to make sure that you got enough tips to get above the minimum wage? Exactly. So what is the problem? You know what I mean? It's like, so go above and beyond.
Right.
That's what you should be doing.
Agreed.
Because you want to get paid above and beyond the minimum. So that's what you have to do.
But you know what could tarnish that though? And I'm putting myself in that position. What if, that over and beyond gets you the likelihood of greater tips. What if so much over and beyond effort yields you no tips? And then you're just like, well, fuck this then. I'm just doing the minimum.
Well, that's what happens.
Yep.
That's exactly what happens.
Yep. I was always
I don't
amazed
have an answer for it. But
when I used to work at a restaurant right out of college and I was a hostess. All I did was seat people, and as far as to-go orders, I kind of I was the liaison between the kitchen. Like I bagged it up, I checked it for accuracy or whatever, and literally just handed it to people. I was always amazed. I mean, it didn't happen that often, but I sometimes would get tips, and I'm just like,
For what?
I just checked off a list to make sure everything you ordered was in the bag. But okay, sure.
Yeah.
I didn't feel worthy of them. I wasn't running around like the servers in the restaurant. But
yeah, there were some like super busy nights at the Improv where they would like give us like $10-15
nice.
for it was just because it was busy.
Yeah.
Okay. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't do
They
anything
had a good
extra,
night and
like,
wanted to spread the love, I guess.
I don't know. But this kind of feeds into something that came up a couple weeks ago, where I don't know if there was a bill or somebody was trying to push some kind of legislation through that would remove the income tax on tipping. Which I like face value. I'm like, why? Fuck that. Why? That is their whole income. Why would you not tax that? Like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Unless they're saying, we're not going to tip you or we're not going to tax you on an amount above minimum wage. Whatever you would have made minimum wage or the hours you worked, that's what we're going to tax you on. And the tips are above and beyond because you did the above and beyond. Like that, I could be like, okay, I could, that's a compromise I could probably settle with. But for it to be like no tips or all tips are tax free. It's like, what are you talking about? That's their whole income.
Well, here's the thing, though, and I don't know. It's been a while since I worked as a hostess, like a while. So I don't know what's different. But knowing at least what I remember of the process, when I would, like people would cash out, and if they put like a tip on their credit card slip, I'd cash it out and take that money out of the drawer and then give it to the server.
Okay.
So as far as the server is concerned, they're just getting cash. Follow me so far?
Yeah.
So if you're getting cash that's not documented by a 1099 or whatever, who I'm curious how many people were honestly reporting their tips on their taxes anyway. So unless the process has changed where restaurants or cash out systems keep track, because more people do use credit cards now, keep track of what a person gets and 1099 them accordingly, it's like,
I think they do. I think they have to.
Do they?
I think so.
Okay. Because I was like, who's reporting tips anyway?
I'm pretty sure, because, everything's digital. So now, like, they get a printout of, like, what the total was. And then they know, like, what the charge to the card was.
But here's the thing. Like, if, say, it's a big party, and, like, 2 servers are taking care of this, it's still going to be one credit card receipt. Is their system sophisticated enough to divvy it up? Or?
I'm sure it is. I'm sure they have that figured out.
Okay. But then on the side note, I feel like, not to discount how much a person could make in tips, but unless it's like some high-end restaurant, your average minimum wage earning person, those tips are not, I don't feel that they're a life-changing amount of money to the point of the government be like, we need to get a cut of that. Like, just let them have it. They already have an extremely hard job for which they're underpaid. Don't tax their shit.
Yeah,
let them have it. That's kind of how I feel. I don't think it's
no.
I don't think it's enough revenue to tip the scale.
But it's still revenue. It's still something, and and there's a part of it. There's that like fairness equality thing. It's like, well, why do they not have to pay income tax? Right?
They're
it's like,
already financially struggling.
So the fuck am I?
If that's one perk.
So am I.
I mean, yeah, but all your income, unfortunately, is documented.
So what does that matter? I'm still struggling. So even
but you're not making minimum wage.
So cost of living, I can prove that. I
mean, I'm not discounting
I bet
that.
you there are people that make tips that make more money than me, without a doubt.
In your average minimum wage regular restaurant, I don't think so.
Not up here, but down the hill.
If it's a high-end restaurant, yeah, I'm not discounting the high-end restaurants, but your regular minimum wage
They're doing
spots.
Fine.
I don't know about that.
Well, then why are they working there? They wouldn't be able to afford to work there.
They probably have more than one server job at like a couple of restaurants.
Right, well, that's the life, though. That's.
I'm just saying, to me, extending that perk is not.
Okay, but like again, why do they get it?
Because they're already at the bottom of the socioeconomic class.
I don't think they are.
How is minimum wage workers
But
not?
they're making more than minimum wage. That's what I'm saying. With the tips, they're making more than minimum wage, for sure.
They're not.
Most of
but
them are
they're
making
not
more than minimum.
the equivalent of making. I mean, on a good night, and again, that's not even predictable. It's not something you can bank on every night. But on a good night, okay, you get maybe a couple $100, but it's like
That's more than I'm making every day.
But you have the luxury of knowing that you're going to have a full whatever. You have the luxury of knowing what your paycheck's going to be every time.
Yeah, because I went through the steps to make sure that I could have a job like that.
But not everybody has that benefit.
Well, that's not my fault.
No, it's not your fault. But I'm just saying, like, to me,
Again, though, why them? I'm a healthcare. I work with special needs.
True.
How come my income isn't? Why am I not? You know what I mean? I work with the downtrodden.
True.
I am helping the needy.
But you do not make minimum wage.
I might as well in California. But my point is, there are plenty of people you could argue are worth not having to pay income tax. So it's like, just why them? And again, yes, there are a lot of people that aren't making that much, but there are plenty that are making a fuck ton of money.
Also, you do know that when you make below the poverty line, you don't have to pay taxes. You do know that, right?
All right, so what are you complaining about? They don't have to fucking pay taxes.
Well,
then.
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you were just saying that there's a plenty of downtrodden. They don't get this perk. I mean, they kind of do in a different way.
All right, then if they don't make enough money, then they wouldn't have to pay taxes anyway. So this is irrelevant.
I mean, I'm just saying.
So that means they are making enough money to make it a thing. They're not living in poverty.
We don't know that.
Well, you just said.
Well, I just said what?
If they're living below the poverty line, they don't have to pay taxes, and if that was the case, they wouldn't be removing income tax from.
I mean, true, but
because they're already below the poverty line.
Still, I don't know.
It's just it doesn't make sense.
This is not something that's benefiting like the top 5% earners in the world. So I'm not mad at this.
My point is everybody else pays income tax. It's like the biggest thing about like letting people in the country. They don't pay income tax. Like get them out of here. So it's like all of a sudden we're gonna be like, you don't have to pay income tax. Like, well, why do we keep them then? Like,
I mean, it doesn't make any sense. The whole income tax system is inequitable anyway. The fact that, like, say you and I, who don't have kids, are not quote unquote taking from the system, we pay more taxes than say somebody that has 5 kids. Now, granted, obviously the resources of somebody with 5 kids obviously has to spread thinner than say you or I. But it's like, okay, well, but your situation. This mother with a 5, let's say, you know, you're taking advantage of schools and, you know, you're using more things per se than I am, yet I have to pay more. So it's already inequitable anyway.
But at least there's nobody paying nothing. Like that's the insane part, except for probably the super rich. You know, they.
I mean, to be fair, minimum wage workers, their actual wage, Uncle Sam is still taking taxes out of that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
everybody gets income tax taken out. So why take that sect of people? It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make sense. You want to help them? That's fine. Help them in other ways, though. That doesn't make any sense.
I mean,
to the outside looking in, it's like. It's like why are you doing that for them?
I don't know.
Right? Like, it's just like okay. You know?
I mean, unless they made a distinction, like if you're working in a place that you actually make like above minimum wage, then you do have to pay. But if you're like minimum wage and below, then you don't have to pay. Yeah,
that's okay. Yeah, that's basically what I said. Or tax the amount that minimum wage would be worth.
That's fair.
That's what I was saying earlier. But yeah, I don't know. You can't just remove income tax from a whole like group of people. That just doesn't make sense. Because again, then it's like, well, how come like essential workers get taxed? I'm essential.
Yeah, but I should essential, quote unquote, essential workers get a lot of benefits across other.
That's irrelevant. That's
sure
irrelevant.
It is.
No, that's irrelevant. They get fucking plenty of benefits. They're
Society rewards essential workers, or what do you call them, first responders, in a lot of other ways. I mean,
yeah, let's tack one on because we're actually doing something out there. putting our lives on the line.
I'm just
working
saying,
when everybody else is staying home, not getting free money every week.
Are you bitter?
I'm very bitter. I would be the first to admit that $600 a week was bullshit. People were making more money not working, staying home than I was working full time.
I remember.
Fucking ridiculous. It's the stupidest thing, dude. So dumb.
I mean, yeah, that was, well, a lot of people unfortunately committed fraud in those times.
You're essential. Thank you so much. Fuck you. How about that? Pay my bills, you asshole. Give me time off. Give me more PTO. Give me anything. Yeah. Anything. Give me a tax credit. Give me what is it when it's not biohazard pay, fucking
hazard pay?
Hazard pay. Yeah, like give me something. I got nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. It's ridiculous. Bunch of thank yous.
Angry.
It's so stupid. People, oh, thank you. What does that do? That is nothing for me.
Yeah.
Dumb as hell.
And
then, these people that give you your beers, they shouldn't have to pay income tax. Fuck you.
They do. Just don't tax their tips. You're acting like their whole income.
We don't know the story. That's what the thing said. It's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, you're so mad.
It's just dumb.
Deep breaths.
Okay. What next?
I don't know. You pick.
Nope, I picked the first one.
I put them on there. You're not showing our list, are you?
No. Pick something.
Oh, let's do the second one.
Okay.
Because this piggybacks on another of your rants.
Oh, yeah.
Can you still hear me okay? Since I adjusted.
I gotta find this article though. Start talking though.
Oh, you just click the link?
Well, I'm kidding.
Sorry. So if listeners, if you listen to previous episodes, you remember that the last time we went to Disneyland, William got upset that a guy was holding a spot in line for his very large family to the point where he undid this rope or stanchion, whatever. Chain, whatever.
It was a full-on chain.
And then
made a noise and everything.
And then was like, excuse me while I get my whole group in here. So turns out Disney is on your side.
Hell yeah, they are. They know what the fuck is up, dude.
Says holding a spot in line for your group is considered skipping and is no longer permitted. So that sounds like a new thing.
Boom, baby. That's right. They watched our podcast. That's what it was.
Know, right?
We sent that request. We're like, hey, we want to do a podcast at your thing. And they're like, let's check this out. They watched that one and they're like, we are definitely not letting them in. But he makes a good point.
Says the official park rules state that guests should not jump lines or save places for others. What are your thoughts on this? We usually don't mind, actually.
You're goddamn right. This first person, I actually agree with this. A group saving for one person going to the bathroom or taking a child, fine. One person saving for a group,
yes,
no. I agree with that.
100%.
I agree with that. But now that they've said that, nope. Not even one. You gotta wear diapers, bitch. You gotta make sure you go piss before you get in line for Guardians of the Galaxy, motherfucker. God. You think you want to go on Space Mountain? You want to go on Space Mountain? You gotta earn it. You gotta stand in line like everyone else. You're goddamn right. Even your little kid, your little baby in the stroller, yeah, they gotta sit in that long, weird lit hallway that turns at random and it gets to one end. You're like, oh, this is the end, right? Nope. Here's another 500-foot hallway you have to wait in line in with the lights flickering. Someone's gonna have a seizure in there.
Episode.
I'm so glad that I'm right on this. Oh, this feels so good. As soon as I saw
that, I was like, we're putting this on the docket.
Oh, this is perfect. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Don't you can't do that.
I mean,
excuse me, my people.
Well, see, for me, similar to this first commenter, I would even gray the line a little bit more to say, like, if whoever you're holding it for, the amount of people you're holding it for, if it doesn't mean I have to wait more, I'll give you a pass. So like one person, like in a ride situation, one person isn't going to make me have to wait for the next car or, whatever. One person for a group. Okay, now I got to wait longer. Now I'm pissed.
I'll even say I might I might be willing to compromise down to you can hold the number of spots up to the amount of people that are already in line.
No.
Okay. All right. I changed my mind.
In a large group, that still could be like if it's 5 people and 5 more pull up. No.
Yeah.
No. 1, 2 tops. I'll give you a pass. Beyond 2, nah.
And the thing is, like, no line is that long. Like, they're long because it's California and it's Disney.
Yeah.
But they're not that long.
Yeah.
And if they're that long, don't go on the ride.
True.
If they're so long where you're like, I can't wait, you go, I'm going to go do something else and then come. Yeah. You don't get to go. You don't go on that ride.
That's fair.
Because you can't wait for it.
Or you wait your own turn and time in line. Yeah.
You haven't earned it. Yeah. This goes back to the earning shit thing, man. You haven't earned it. I love this. Can we print this out the next time we go? Actually, I want to put this on a t-shirt. Let's put this on a t-shirt.
Well, first of all, obviously they're quoting some rules and regs from Disney. Some love park trends is not going to carry clout. What you need to print out is the
terms and conditions.
Yeah, Disney. Be like,
But like nobody's gonna read that. People are gonna read this. Can I put this on the back and then the document on the front, or vice versa?
I don't know.
Put that on the pocket square right here.
That would be funny. Actually, scroll down. I'm curious if there are any dissenting comments.
Looking at you, family of 24 Ooh. With matching t-shirts. Ooh. Shots fired. They're not gonna start cracking down on it. That's for sure. There's not going to be an employee that's like, hey, I saw monitor, yeah, that's not going to happen. Because that's too confrontational for Disney.
For sure.
Yep. It depends on how many people are online.
Yeah, it seems like most people are okay with one or two. Yeah.
These are also probably adults. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean... Oh, here's one. What happened to the magic in Disney? I swear the park is getting less and less magical all the time. Let's all just be cool, not so uptight. Let life happen and enjoy the park. If you got to step out of line for any reason to do so, then come back and don't make a big deal. Someone is fighting a battle you may know nothing about.
Says one of a family of 6, probably.
Yeah.
That clearly stepped on her toes.
This is exactly what Disney is instructing people that are being denied DAS to do. I don't know what that means.
That's the disability thing.
The family waits in line and the person that was denied had been waiting somewhere else. Goes through the line. What is it? Disability?
Yeah, I forgot exactly what it...
Well,
but I know that they cracked down on those rules,
that's
too.
A different circumstance, I'll show. Yeah. Also. Issue is not the occasional bathroom break or the family who is denied DAS. Yeah. Oh, deny. They can deny people? Mm-hmm. That's like fucked up. Damn, Disney.
Yeah.
You got to prove that your kids are... Oh.
Well, I think it's like... I think before, like, people were maybe taking advantage of it. And, like... because...
you have to, like, send your diagnosis? That's
well, because, like...
I kind of want to go through the process
I thought, outsider looking in, that was this type of system was for like people that old, can't walk or have a heart condition or you have a broken whatever. I figured
it was a mental disability thing.
But I guess people that had kids like autistic or
in wheelchair.
Yeah. I mean even pregnant people I think could use it.
Let's not go down that lane.
Well, I mean, so I post the crackdown. I don't know exactly who they're limiting now, but I think. From what I recall when they first did it and looking at some comments, I think like the people like parents of like kids with autism and stuff, I think they were starting to get excluded.
Ooh, that's rough. But I think they have their own, I think there's like a sensory experience. I'm pretty sure I looked into this because when I was there, remember I told you, I think I brought it up to you. I either brought it up to you or I was texting my sister where I was like, why is there not like an app or whatever like for like families, kids with autism and stuff where it's like I don't know, it's just like more geared toward them and they can, I don't know. And my sister was saying that there is something like that. But I don't think it's this. I don't think so.
I mean,
Anyway.
I know that autism can present in myriad ways, but the little I do know about autism, it's like, it doesn't sound like Disneyland or a theme park in general is like, that they would be comfortable there.
It just
it's like
depends.
overstimulation people. I don't know. It just
Depends.
you know.
Yeah. I think you'd be better off like having your own services at home, getting a therapist that's good, and then like planning a day to go with them. So
That's fair.
That's
That's
the probably the move.
Yeah.
But whatever. Not my problem. But yeah, dude, with your stupid jujitsu jacket that you conveniently put on after we had our exchange. Fuck you. I'm right. You're wrong. Go take your short ass in a submarine and bop your head on your way down. Oh wait, you won't bop
I
your
was
head
gonna
because
say,
you're
he was
short,
short, yeah.
bitch.
That guy could stand up straight in that submarine.
Yeah, you could have bit my dick standing up, pussy.
Oh my god, this is the William is angry episode for
I
real.
know. I don't know where it came from. It's out of nowhere. Probably the fact that I have to drive down the hill today.
Aw.
Okay. I've been reading.
Yes.
I've been a reading motherfucker
Yeah, you've been
lately,
plowing
dog.
through the books.
Yeah. I finished reading the Witcher series,
Oh yeah, I forgot that too.
which was 8 books long, and
Dang, it was 8 books?
yeah,
Jeez. Okay.
yeah. The actual like main story, as it were, was only 7. The first 7.
Okay.
And then the last one was actually like a prequel kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Not even I wouldn't even, I guess you could call it a prequel. It's just like a standalone.
Side story or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like stories of Geralt just fucking shit up.
Okay.
Like, it's pretty cool.
Nice.
It was fun. But at the same time, like it had like a nice, like rounded out ending where it kind of flash forwarded to the future. Flash
okay.
forwarded? Flashed forward? Where it flashed forward, yeah. You don't say fast, whatever. I'm stupid.
We know what you mean.
So it fasted forward, fast forwarded, flashed for. I don't know.
It jumped ahead.
It jumped ahead like 100 years,
It flashed it forwarded.
and kind of like had a strangely like sentimental, and I don't know, it's hard to explain. I don't want to spoil anything because they're making the series on Netflix and I don't know how far they're going to go. They're going to run into some interesting shit though if they continue down. Like if they're going to
Really?
follow the books, yeah, it's going to
Okay.
be very interesting how they handle it in the show.
Okay.
I think there's a portion of it that they'll just like completely just not do, but regardless,
Because of like violent or
no,
sexual or
no, just because it's like multiversal in a
Why is
in
that
a
the-
way, like they bring up like King Arthur and shit. It's
Oh.
it's weird. It's weird. Yeah,
Interesting.
it's weird.
Okay.
But it's cool at the same time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's also like almost no other way to like you'll see in 10 years when they finish the series. You'll see.
I mean that's if the series lasts long as they're switching out actors.
They might not.
Yeah.
They might not. So I finished reading that, and then I was like, well, I want to like read more like fantasy like stuff. That's like kind of my thing. And you had brought up Mario Puzo's The Family, which we had talked about months ago. And I had said that I wanted to read. I'd set it aside. So I grabbed that. I took it to work, and I finished it in a week.
And that's a thick book too.
Yeah, it was like 400 pages.
Is it? Oh, man,
yeah.
Oh, it looked thicker than that. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was four something.
Okay.
That was a great book. Fantastic. It actually makes me want to read more Mario Puzo.
Really?
Yeah. I have one of his books I never read called The Last Dawn.
Is it related to The Godfather?
Dawn? I don't know.
Oh.
I think so, but I don't know.
Alright.
Never read it.
Okay.
So I might send for that from home.
Oh, you have it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you
it's
own
at
it.
home.
It's
Yeah,
not
it's-
here.
yeah.
Okay.
Because I bought The Godfather and I read that, and then I saw another Mario Puzo and it says Don. I'm like, that's got to be God. So I bought it and never read it.
Aw.
And then after I finished that, because I liked reading a physical book so much versus reading on my iPad, I started looking for other stuff that you have in your library, and I saw two little classics that I'd never read before. That every time I say I've never read those, people go, "How have you never read those?" We read those in middle school. Some people say I read that in elementary school. I'm like, well, that's weird.
I didn't. Mine were. Animal Farm might have been junior high, but Lord of the Flies was definitely high school.
The books were Animal Farm and Lord of the Flies. They both seem Animal Farm. It seems like you should read in like 8th grade.
Why 8th grade?
It just seems like you would get it at that point, and it's early enough to like be like a genuine cautionary tale.
Okay, I don't know about nowadays 8th graders, but okay.
Maybe not, but like if I would have read it in 8th grade, I think 8th grade, maybe a freshman, somewhere in there. Yeah. I think I would have had a much different perspective on things.
Okay.
Because there was a point, and admittedly, shamedly, I'm like in college, and I'm like, why is there money? Like, why don't we just like all just like just keep doing what we're doing, and just take what you need, and just like everything just keeps going. We don't have to charge, or just get what you want. And
it's called socialism.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't realize that because I'd never read this shit. I'd never been told about it. But in my mind, I'm like, that fucking makes all the sense in the world.
It does, but people are greedy.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's why I think like you should read this book. It should be. I don't know how it slipped through the cracks of mine. Yeah, I don't even know what else to like where else to go with that. Like I have so much I could say about it, but I don't necessarily, because everybody's read it already. So I'm like, I'm gonna be saying things that everybody's like, yeah, dude, we fucking knew this 25 years ago.
Because I'm genuinely curious, because I haven't read it since high school, and I'm curious, that I've got some adulting under my belt, like how it would hit different, and I'm sure it would. So I'm like curious through your adult lens. How did you feel?
I could see everything unfolding before it happened. Okay. As I was reading, I was like, I could yep, 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 and like, yep. It's just all cyclical, and
it's amazing how prophetic George Orwell is. Think of 1984.
Dude,
yeah.
Oh my god, he's a genius. Here's what the moment that I would. This is gonna be so stupid. When I was like, George Orwell is a fucking genius. I had finished it. I'm trying to think where I was. I might have been like driving. I think I was driving, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, like it was so interesting how like when Napoleon and Snowball, by the way, spoilers, I guess, if you've never read
as old as this book is.
I've never read it. Anyway, but when Napoleon and Snowball, like when they like have their split, when like they fight and then Snowball takes off, never to be seen again. And they use him as a scapegoat over and over. And I was like, man, it was interesting how it just like snowballed into, and I was like, Snowball! I was like, oh my god! It blew my fucking mind. I was like, this is the most genius thing I've ever heard in my whole life. Like, that is the most wise naming of a character ever, because it just snowballed into, like, they just used him as the basis for a snowball of just communism, and it was just, I was like, what the fuck, dude? I was like, he thought about this way more than I thought about this. So that's a book where you read it and things mean things. Sometimes you read books and it's like they're just extrapolating for no reason. This is a book where it's like, he meant things by choosing certain animals for things, and vice for like pigs because they're actually close to humans, like, and skin color probably even has something to do with that.
There's lots of layers.
The one part I didn't see coming was at the end when they're starting to walk. I put my hand on my head. I was like, what the fuck? Because I like, and it's very much like a fairy tale, right? And it's you kind of have to just be like, okay. And I thought it would. I didn't think it was gonna go that far. Like I was
Especially when they originally were like 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Yeah.
It's so fun. It's like and it's weird. Like when you're reading it because it uses like animals and it's like it is like a fairy tale. It's funny.
Yeah.
It reads funny.
Yeah.
And so like I'm kind of like
it would be way different if it was people.
yes.
Yeah. For
and
sure.
so like I'm almost like laughing at them because it's animalist. It's animalism, but it's just like, damn, this is fucked up. Like they're just like changing the rules behind their back, and they're not smart enough to have been able to read, but they're smart enough to be able to remember that something isn't right, but they can't speculate or they can't like articulate what it is. And then these people just manipulate. Dude, it is just, it is so perfect. It is a perfect book. And
For sure.
I wouldn't even call it, but this is a short story.
Yeah, it's small.
I wouldn't even call it because I read it literally in a day.
Well, and to know that a story that has so many layers and so many nuances can be that
compact.
Yeah.
It almost makes you like, and so like reading Lord of the Flies after that was one of my complaints, is that it was like, this is like too long. Like you could tell the story quicker.
Same? Oh.
No, it's like twice as long.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it was like, I get it. Get to the meat. And that's what I liked about Animal Farm. It was like chapter 2, it was like uprising.
Popping up.
It was like bam. Like it was like, I didn't expect that. I expected it to be more of a slow build.
lead up.
Yeah. But it was like boom. And it was also, we kind of texted about it. You get a feeling during this book of like, well, I don't want this to happen where I am, right? Like,
wait, are we talking about
Animal Farm?
Okay. Make sure
You're like, I don't want this, we don't want this to happen
Mm-hmm.
in our area, in our lifetime, whatever it is. But it's like, but it is happening. And what do you do about it? And then you go, well, I'd rather be like a pig or a dog than like a horse. Or I'd rather be like in charge and like, but then I'm the bad person. But then if I'm down here, I'm a good person, but I'm just being downtrodden. Yeah. And it's like, oh, this is, like, I don't know where I want to be.
Right.
You almost want to be a sheep where you're just like, you're just in the middle, kind of.
Ignorance is bliss. Ignorant, and just going along, yeah.
4 legs good, 2 legs bad. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Have they made a movie of this?
I'm not sure.
This would be a great movie.
I'm not sure. I know
especially nowadays with CGI and stuff. This would make a fucking awesome movie.
I know there's one of Lord of the Flies, 2 of Lord of the Flies, but have they ever made one of Animal Farm?
Same with Lord of the Flies, actually. They could make that a movie really good now. I know they made one in like 1990, which is like...
Oh my god. Oh, they're making one. It's going to come out this year. There's actually there's quite a few. There's quite a few versions actually. Jesus. Seth Rogen and Woody Harrelson.
Hell yeah.
Follows a group of animals who were okay, this is going to be interesting.
All right, Seth Rogen, don't let us down.
Seth Rogen's going to be Napoleon. It doesn't say what Woody Harrelson's going to be. Kieran Culkin is Squealer. Andy Serkis is Mr. Jones. Steve Buscemi's Moses.
Oh, I can't
Jim
wait.
Parsons is Snowball. Sheldon from Big Bang. Oh, this is
go.
Glenn Close. Okay, I'm excited now.
We're going to see this in theaters.
I like how Kathleen Turner, with her deep ass voice, is playing a male character, Benjamin.
I can't wait.
Oh,
the
hell
donkey,
yeah.
That's gonna be good. Hopefully they.
Yeah.
And that's a one that you could genuinely do it like scene for scene as the book is.
Oh
written.
yeah, for sure.
Because it's so short, like you could do that in the 90-minute movie probably.
Sorry, but I got distracted. There are existing ones. Let's see if
It doesn't matter. I don't want to watch any of them. Now that I know there's a new one.
There's the previous new one. There was, I'm not going to count shorts, but there was a 1999 one. There was a 2006 TV movie one. The 1990 one had Kelsey Grammer and Ian Holm.
Can I be honest?
Sure.
Before I reached adulthood, like basically like out here, because I hadn't read it, I didn't know what it was. Anytime someone referenced it, Animal Farm, I assumed that it was along the lines of like Charlotte's Web.
Oh, like a nice, like, simple.
Yeah, like there's a coming of age thing or like whatever the fuck.
It absolutely is not.
No, it's definitely not that. I also found it interesting, like the ending was very good. How it was like, well, now we're just the humans, and like they're just a part. And it's weird that the humans accepted them now, because I think of it in terms of like, if that was a genuine like communist society, I would hope that we would never work with them. You know what I mean? Like how we are with like Russia. Like we're pretty, I mean, save for recently, we're pretty like blocked off from Russia, right? I mean, we don't really trade with them and shit as far as I know.
True. But nefarious regimes / systems, they never come into a society showing their malevolence and badness. They package it as, oh, this is good, and then it's like a slow turn of the screw. So would we necessarily know that we're heading that way in the moment?
But it's like they were vehement about them early on. But again, it's just like time passes.
But again, in the initial quote unquote setup of it, it was ideally meant to be good, and then
but not to the farmers.
Oh, I've just meant communism in general, but
right. Yeah.
And then some greedy, opportunistic people then obviously change it. So,
but it's like you say, oh, the greedy, opportunistic people, and it's like, I want to agree with you, I do, but there's. And this kind of, the Animal Farm and Lord of the Flies kind of have this in common where it's like society is going to settle into these hierarchies where it's like, you do need a leader. Mm-hmm. You need that. Mm-hmm. You do need that.
True.
You need hunters and workers. Mm-hmm. And you need smart people to like do like your engineering type stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's like, how do you stop each of them from like viewing the other as lesser or above? You know?
Good point, yeah.
And it seems impossible.
Yeah.
Because you're all doing different things, and you each think it's like the most important thing because you're doing it.
Well, see, and here's what I always wonder on a very generalized scale. And I say we in terms of like Western societies, and I'm going to say all we know, but capitalism is ingrained at us since birth, practically. Yeah. Like, everything about how we conduct ourselves, whether it's school, whatever, it has a capitalistic undertone. Like, you work hard, you get further. And, it's somewhat individualistic in nature. Like you're not necessarily
kids that go to college on average make $1 million extra dollars.
Right. Yeah. You aren't really, maybe outside of your family unit, you're not really taught in the way you see how the world works to care for others, to like have a mindset of if we all help each other, we all, we're not taught that. I mean, we are taught that, but we're not, what we see is capitalism is incentivized and rewarded. So it's hard to strip that away from my mind when thinking about other systems, specifically socialism or communism, because it's like, no matter how I look at it, it's still coming through a capitalistic lens, if that makes sense. So yeah. I'm curious, like for people that are taught that from the jump and are seeing quote unquote the fruits of that, like how do they view socialism and communism?
Yeah, like does that make sense? If you took Animal Farm and gave it to someone in Finland, one of those Scandinavian countries that tout socialism, they usually have a mix of socialism, capitalism, but gave it to them, what would they concede?
What would they take away from it? Yeah.
That'd be interesting. There was the copy that you have that I read, there was like an introduction that like I almost regret reading it because it kind of spoiled it in a sense. In a weird way where it was like, because it kind of like had a breakdown of it where it was like, it didn't like give away too much, but it kind of was like, I don't know, it was just hitting on a few points. And I was kind of like, I probably should have just not read that. Yeah. Like, I don't know if I needed to see the word fascism before I read the book. Like, I think I would have got it. Like,
yeah.
And is that fascism? I guess, like, when does it become fascism? I think, is that immediately?
I don't know. That's like a...
it's a gray area,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
the socialism just kind of blends into communism. What is the difference between socialism and communism? Communism has a party that rules versus
I'm not. I mean, usually I hear about them in tandem, and I think one is a general term and the other one is a specific version, and I don't know which is which.
Yeah,
If
I
that
don't
makes
know
sense.
either.
I don't know if socialism is a form of communism or if communism is a form of socialism.
yeah,
So
and then there's
it's-
Marxism, which nobody knows what
right,
that is.
right. I mean, that's supposed to be the father of communism, Karl Marx. So
Right, right, right. Uh, so anyway,
thoughts on
Animal Farm was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait for the movie now. It should be fun. Hopefully they do it right.
justice.
Yeah. Like I said, it could be funny still and still make the points. They can do that because that's how the book kind of feels.
Yeah.
Anyway, Lord of the Flies, I liked a lot. It it has this weird, like, I think I explained it to you as a greatest generation suppressed homoeroticism.
When I saw that text, I was like, "Wait, what?"
So this was written in 1954.
All right, yeah.
And so greatest generation in theory. This author probably lived through the world wars.
Okay, assuming William. I don't know how William Golding is, but was.
Don't know his sexual preferences, but there's a lot of weird wrestling and boys looking at other boys' bodies naked and being envious, and it's just like very strange. Like there's just some really weird like turn of phrases where it's just like, all right, and then it's just like, they got excited, they rolled around in the mud for a little bit and wrestled, and then they moved on. It's like, who does that? What are you talking about?
That's something I completely missed on the first read. I definitely need to read that through adult eyes again.
I mean, maybe it's just me, but like it was just like strangely like, why do you have to bring up that he looked at his body? Like I understand like at the beginning, like Piggy, the fat one, is like looking at Ralph. He's like skinny. He's like looking. It's like why do you even need to bring that up?
Yeah.
Like it's just a weird thing to say. And then the fact that he's like even declaring that they get naked at all. He was naked when he stood before him. It's like, fucking why? Why is that in the book? He's 12 years old. Ralph is 12. Why are you making them all naked? And the rest of them are younger. This is weird. And they're all wrestling in the pools together. It's like, fucking... It's like... Especially for that era. If it was written now, I'd be like, this makes sense. Like, this is typical, like, gay shit. But, like, back then, it's like they just had to, like, subtly throw in their, like, homoeroticism.
Okay, wait. I'm looking at William Golding. See if he ever, like...
If he's married to a man, I'm gonna...
I mean, I'm assuming he's dead now, but... William...
Kept a journal.
Golding. He's British.
Of course he is. Look at him. Gay.
Novelist, poet, and playwright. Born in 1911. So he was like in his 40s-ish.
Yep.
Dang, he lived till 93.
Oh, wow.
Let's see.
Love life. Scroll down.
Yeah, I'm looking if he got a wife
Spouses.
and kids.
If he never married, that's an indicator.
Okay, nothing listed there. Let's see, personal life. Marriage and family. All right.
Damn.
Golding was engaged to Molly Evans, a woman from Marlborough, who was well liked by both of his parents. That's a weird thing to say. However, he broke off the engagement and married Anne Brookfield, an analytical chemist, on September 30th, 1939. They had 2 children, David and Judith. I mean, that's not to say he wasn't gay. A lot of gay men back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Married. So
that all I'm saying is that it seemed like a gay man writing out what he thinks straight boys would do when they're like excited and like alone and they have no, you know what I mean? Like,
that's fair.
Which is like, maybe no jerking off in the book, which I find strange.
I mean, they wouldn't put that in a book back then anyway.
Okay. We're on an island with no girls.
This was written in 1950. What? He would not. A
4.
British man would not print that in a book.
Whatever. Would have been poignant.
Maybe he was subtly like guiding you there and letting you fill in the blanks, but he would not print that. That book would have been banned so fast.
You're just jerking each other off around their conch shell. Everybody jerk off into the conch shell. Whoever finishes last has to drink it.
No. Gross. What are your thoughts on the book, nasty ass?
That's what they should have done. They should have jizzed in the conch shell.
You're so gross.
I did like I thought like, yeah, this makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think 12-year-old boys would be able to survive on an island though. I don't think they'd be able to kill a boar. I don't think there's any fucking way. They would be able to eat the fruit. I think they would die before they got rescued. I think
12-year-old boys back then could, because I feel like boys were taught more life skills. I don't think 12-year-old boys now could.
No, definitely not. But and even if they could stay alive, they couldn't keep young ones alive. Definitely. Like in the book there's like 6-year-olds and it's like there's no way.
Yeah.
There's just no way. There was no sickness in the book, which I found weird. But again, like that's not the point. There's a lot of things where it's like, why isn't there girls? Why isn't there sickness? Why doesn't any of them like break a leg at any point? And it's like, because that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It wouldn't have the point of the story is not how they deal with the wilderness. And it's like one of those things where it's like you read it and you go, oh, there's no solution. You can't do it.
No.
It's impossible. I don't, unless you have like genuinely like-minded people that are like genuinely on the same page.
Then that's not.
It's just impossible.
With that many people, no, that's not gonna happen.
Especially at that age. If there was adults, they could probably have like, even if there was adults, it probably would have taken longer.
I feel like even if the boys, quote unquote, were older, it would have been more achievable. But I'm like 12-year-old, like kids, like your brain's not even fully cooked yet. It's going to deteriorate
quickly.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And it's hard to determine like how much time they spent there, but it was a pretty decent amount of time.
Yeah.
They're dumb because he thinks he's smart. He's like, we're going to build a fire, which is like, that's smart, on the mountain. Why? Why? Well, that's so much extra work, dude. The introduction of the beast was very interesting.
Oh, I forgot about that. Okay.
I mean, that's kind of the catalyst for.
You understand that's been probably like close to 30 years since I read this book.
Well, yeah, but I mean that is the whole. This is the catalyst for like the whole thing. And the guy that the parachute guy that drops down and they actually think is the beast, and then Simon finds out that it's not, and he goes to tell him, and then they kill him before he can tell him. Dog, it's great. Again, this could be made into a movie for sure. The one part I didn't really like was when the Lord of the Flies, which aptly named, I like how he came to that. It was cool. That was cool. I didn't like how it started to talk to him.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
It was like a little strangely like paranormal when nothing was really on that level. They never gave the vibe that Simon was like a like medium or like anything like that.
To
like,
me, I feel like
he had his episodes.
If before the introduction of the Lord of the Flies, if they were like, he ate some weird fruit, like something hallucinate. That would have that little bridge would have totally made it fit right. But.
But I don't know, like, because earlier in the book, like Simon tries to tell them he knows he's like there is no, but he's like too shy. He like doesn't want to like say it, but he knows. He's like, what if it's not real? It's just all in our heads. He's trying to tell them, so he knows. Which if they make a movie, that's the casting that you need to go hard on.
Yeah.
That needs to be your guy.
Yeah.
Because that's the important role. I mean, Ralph is the main character, but Simon is the important character.
For sure.
I'll play Piggy. I think I'd make the perfect Piggy. I'm not like too fat.
With your Coke bottle glasses?
Yeah. I'm not too, I mean, it's fucking cinema. I'm not too fat, but I'm not like...
I don't think you'd make a good Piggy.
Why? I'm smart.
Because my vision of Piggy, like you said, smart, but he has to be like believable as being like physically weak and easily overpowerable and like
I'm fucking buff, dude.
And so I mean, you're a big dude. Like nobody's gonna believe that they can just run over you. So no, you're
Fine.
not. You're not piggy
You're
material.
right.
Sorry.
He needs to be short and fat.
Exactly.
Just want to be in a movie.
I mean, you can play one of them other characters. You can play Simon.
No, Simon's supposed to be smaller.
Oh, what about Ralph?
It's supposed to be chiseled.
I don't. Was
He's
that
skinny.
the description?
He's skinny.
Oh, okay. I don't know, but not piggy.
He's got long blonde hair. I can't grow hair.
That's what wigs are for. That's what lace fronts are for.
Running through the forest. Could you imagine me? How sexy. Just my fat just hitting tree branches.
Oh my god.
I don't like, he calls like vines creepers or something, which is a weird like terminology, which confused me for like the first 40 pages of the book.
Through it like a kid, like potentially like that had boogeyman scared of the dark issues. That's believable.
Yeah, but explain to the reader what it is.
Well, yeah,
it was
yeah,
confusing to me,
That's
like
fair.
what they were trying to say. Like after a while, I was like, oh, they're talking about vines. I'm like, oh, I get it, idiots. I thought the ending was satisfying. I was afraid that they were gonna leave it like open ended, which I wasn't gonna be okay
Happy
with.
about, yeah.
But I like that they got rescued. I kind of didn't like that they kind of just all like cowered once the Navy guy was there, which I get it.
Once
but an adult was in the
an
presence.
adult, a firm power structure, it's like
Yeah.
everybody gets back in line. You know?
Yeah. But it almost seemed like they were so far in, especially like knowing you'd killed two people.
Yeah. I mean, they're changed for sure. At least
Yeah.
my perception.
Just
they
take off.
Yeah.
Just live
Yeah.
there forever. Like
Yeah.
you've seen that you can.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So yeah, I like that there was an ending. And again, like irrelevant stuff, but it was kind of funny how it was just like they're on an island. And here we go. And then one of them's like, didn't you hear there was an atom bomb that dropped? And it was like, everybody's dead. And it was like,
Jesus.
okay, I guess it doesn't matter. Like, it's just so quickly to be like, that's what happened, but it doesn't matter because the story's here. It's just like, I'll give you a little bit of context, but the point is they're not going back there, they think.
That's fair.
So, so I guess in a sense, like I was glad that it ended, but I was kind of surprised that there wasn't. It was like, well, was there an atom bomb? It was like, so there was a little bit of backdrop that I was like, what's going on there?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, doesn't matter.
No,
It's again, irrelevant. Like that's not the point. So yeah,
Cool.
I've been a reading motherfucker lately.
Glad you got a couple of classics under your belt.
Yeah. I told you I have read partly 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and then lost my spot in a phone transfer.
Oh, and
Yeah.
now it's been so much time, you probably can't figure out what you read already.
There's so many different descriptions of different fish in the book that you just flip open to a random page and it's describing a fish. It's like, I don't know if this is the one I read or if this is the one that is in the future. I don't know.
That book sounds dry as hell.
It is very good. It's very interesting. It's how I hear the Lord of the Rings being described, in that like he just takes so much time to explain the most like minute of things.
That's why I couldn't get finished the Lord of the Rings.
Really?
Because I was like, I don't need 80 pages on this mountain right now.
Is that genuine?
Yeah. Like the fact that he spends so much time on scenery. Yeah.
Huh. So
Like I found myself thinking like, okay, I get it.
yeah,
Move on. Like,
yeah, it's like that.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Okay,
It's
then
just
I'm
like
out.
that.
I don't like books
but
like
with
that.
with ocean stuff,
I'm out.
which is like at first it's interesting, and then it's like it gets into some details where you're like, I don't know what you're talking about
Yeah.
anymore.
And then, well, it's like with books like that, then I start questioning like, do I need to remember these? Is this going to be
Right.
relevant later?
Right,
Like,
right. Is it going to be one of those things where it like brings up this jellyfish because it's some important thing that happens at the end of the book?
can't,
Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
mean, I it's not that I don't like books that describe scenery to the point where it's like, okay, I feel like I'm there, but there is a sweet spot, like, and there is too much.
Yeah, you can definitely do it shortly or like what's the word? Like concisely,
Yes.
I guess.
Yes.
Where it's not like overbearing to read and stuff. All right, so let's see. Let's do some relationship stuff.
Okay.
Here's one of your videos. It's probably 12 minutes long.
I mean, it's It's not super short, but it's interesting.
Why do Instagram? Why do people put such long videos on
I don't mind a
Instagram?
long video if you engage me in the first 30 seconds. If I have to wait for the point, like, you see those videos where it's like, wait for it. Well,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
just
wait
edit
till
the
the
shit
end.
just edit it better.
Yeah.
Like, get me
But-
hooked quick.
And I know that's like, it's a thing to make you like watch it.
And the minute I see wait for it, I'm usually out because I'm like, oh, that this shit is boring in the beginning and you just want to keep
Right,
people here. No,
right.
just edit it better.
All right. So this is from another pod. I love that we're using other podcasts as podcast material.
Well, it's because it wasn't clear for me at first. Know that she's reading a letter that somebody submitted.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I'm right out and say it. My husband brushes his teeth maybe.
What does it say? I can't.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm not judging. We listen and we don't judge.
Oh.
My husband brushes his teeth maybe once a week, and it's created.
Did you pause it?
Yeah.
Oh. Are you already grossed out? See what I mean about if it's a long video, catch me in the front. This caught me. Keep reading.
Such an issue for us. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I usually have on PJs most of the time, and hair isn't done, etc. My husband
Well,
is a very affectionate type. No matter what I'm wearing or how I smell, currently pregnant, he tells me he loves my smells and that I'm beautiful. Nothing stops him from showing his love, and he's usually always talking very close to me. However, I stopped showing my love. I'm not him, and it's she said, I'm not him.
Yes.
I'm not him, and it's become very difficult to express that love back when his breath is on 10. I have had talks with him about it, but he just tells me he knows he should be better, but brushing his teeth just isn't a top priority right now for him. He literally said focusing on paying our bills, putting food on our table, and preparing for our new child is what's on his mind. I just can't
that's manipulative as fuck.
Yes.
even begin to see how that makes sense. A clean smelling good man, my man, is sexy to me, and I don't believe I'm asking for too much. Girl, you ain't. Should I?
Okay.
You get the gist. Thoughts?
This dude's out of his fucking mind.
Yeah, but I'm also like, I don't understand why the writer of the letter wasn't more assertive, even aggressive, and like, nah, bruh,
Yeah.
you need to. I can't.
Brush your fucking teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is a human comfortable with the feeling of unbrushed
This is
teeth
like
for a
making me
week?
self-conscious about my teeth right now.
Why?
I don't know. I just feel like I haven't brushed them soon enough. I don't even.
I
think I brushed them yesterday, but still.
I mean, it's morning. You still got time,
I feel-
and you're not like in my face. So, but a week.
I could never.
Like that. I mean, I don't know what's more disgusting: not having bathed in a week or not having brushed your teeth in a week.
There are some days when I'm going to bed when I'm like, if I don't brush my teeth, I won't be able to fall asleep.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I can feel it. I won't be able to fall asleep.
But
This is wild.
well, and the fact that he was like you said, kind of emotionally manipulating the wife, like, I love your smells and I love you and no matter what. It's like, like, I mean, sure,
That part I don't find manipulative. I find it manipulative when he's like, I'm focused on paying the bills and getting ready for a new kid and blah. It's like, dog.
hygiene. I mean, hygiene is not that big of a factor in most people's lives to where it has to be shelved for the purpose of paying bills.
I'm pretty sure she's the one that's getting ready for the like. She's
True.
probably doing most of the
True.
getting ready.
True. Well, and to be clear, I felt like it was manipulative for him to be like, oh, I love you and your smells no matter what. If he says that in response to her talking about you haven't brushed your teeth for a week, then that's manipulative. Now, if he just says that randomly, that's fine.
I mean, I say that to you.
I mean, yeah, but it's not like
It's true. After we did that yard work yesterday.
No. And I'm like, get away. I'm
Come here, girl.
gross and I'm smelling.
I
No.
want them pheromones,
No.
girl.
No.
Yeah.
No. But again, that wasn't, you didn't say that after I'm like, did you run your knee today? Like, you know what I mean?
I like your smells no matter what.
I don't want you to smell me if I've been sweaty or any kind of grossness.
Yep. Once a week. That's insane.
Also, he's not going to have teeth very long if he only brushes them once a week.
Dude. Hope you go to the dentist fucking every 2 months.
I mean, your dentist better read you the riot act if you pull up in there with some week old gross.
All right. Well, we've definitely been going long enough. Do you want to keep going, or you want to
Just
call it here?
pull up the topics thing just to make sure there's nothing like timely. I guess other stuff can wait. Scroll down. Yeah. Okay.
Alrighty then. Make sure you follow us on Instagram.
At eb_Nick.
Anything else you want to tell them about? I don't know. Plugs?
No. Wait, no. Make me feel like I'm forgetting something. Like I'm like, what's
I'm
wrong?
just asking again, just opening the floor, making sure we're gonna start this podcast the way we began it by opening the floor to any promos. Follow me on Instagram at Willie_D20. I will be at the Ontario Improv in California on July 27th. It's a Sunday at 6 p.m. Buy your tickets now, improv.com/Ontario. Other than that, all my stuff I'll post on my Instagram. So make sure you're following me there and all that good stuff. Like, share, subscribe.
And all the things.
Yep.
And go brush your teeth.
Brush your fucking teeth.
All right. Bye.